All right, we got the division round weekend, the Niners versus the Seahawks. I'm looking for subscribers, so click down at the lower right. All right, let's get into this. So Seattle opened up -7, and it's going to stay at -7, or at least it's at -7 right now. I don't know if it's going to change. I've changed the format here, so I'm going to start adding more quantitative betting analysis on here. A lot of different numbers. I'm going to be going with EV. So of these, I'm going to take Seattle. The model has Seattle with an 81% chance of winning. That correlates to a 10 point spread. This is my highest correlation when it comes to beating the spread. And so then with that, I will point out that when I do the spread and the money line, is it really says that the money line is a better bet. That's what that higher EV value is, rather than the current point spread. However, if that point spread goes down, that's when I would that EV would go up. So the next best identifier is this value right here, -11. And then when I look at just that correlates over here to about -12 for Seattle. So let's kind of get into what football reasons why we're looking at this. First off, at least by the books, uh, these teams, neither one of these teams are fantastic rushing teams. They're going to rely on the pass. Now, the key thing here is with uh, San Francisco. I think they have what I would probably call the best player in the NFL in Christian McCaffrey. Uh, that offense runs around him. One thing I'll point out, though, is corollary to that would be George Kittle, who I believe tore his Achilles tendon or had a severe injury. And is when we look at the next page, you'll see how that affects a lot of their offense. And so it would not surprise me if those odds for Seattle go up. Of course, it's a playoff game, and no one wants to say, "Oh my God, it's going to be a blowout." There's going to be one. This is probably going to be it. You got a stout Seattle defense. They're playing in Seattle, which is known place to play, hard place to play. Seattle's coming off of a bye week, um, and uh, and yeah, they don't have a great rushing game. It is overall, I think that their offense is in better shape than San Francisco. However, the one thing I'll say, Niners have been finding ways to win. Maybe not pretty ways, but they've been finding ways to win, and that is what counts. So it will be. I love NFL playoff seasons. Absolutely the best. Let's get into more of the analysis of the reason what we see going on here. So uh, we're not expecting to see a really fantastic rushing game by the Niners because going against such a good defense, right? And then we come over here, we see Seattle being able to rush the ball because they're going against a very poor San Francisco defense. And then likewise, you see some of these really high potential numbers up here. So if Seattle's really on a roll, they're going to be able to just dominate that way. And then you've got uh, what looks like a pretty equal offense on both sides. You get some of these high numbers up here. There's days where Sam Darnold just lights it up, and there's days where that dude just can't throw it to the right team. And so we'll see which Sam Darnold shows up. Uh, I'd love it if I would crack me up if he were to listen to this and tell me that I'm just the biggest horse's ass. But the fact of the matter is he really tries to push it. He gets aggressive with passing. It's going to win you games. It's going to lose you games. And sometimes I think he just gets too aggressive with that. Come over here to the upper right. I think Sam Darnold's actually been doing really well because he's getting just a lot of protection, and I think he's really made a concerted effort to get rid of the ball quickly. And when he's on that game, he does well. We see some more sacks over here against San Francisco. But by the way, the other thing I would point out is without Nick Bosa, there isn't much of a rush or a pass rush to really have to defend against, and that is going to be when Sam Darnold's at his best, and that's what we see over here with these big plays. That's the reason why you see some of those big scores that we saw before. Let's come down here, make some of the adjustments based upon the actual strength. So this is accounting for who's on the injured list. So a couple things I would definitely point out: Seattle uh, quarterback and their receivers. That's the difference that having George Kittle makes right there. What has been a pretty darn good offense is really going to be hindered. Chris McCaffrey is an absolute stud. You can't forget about him because he can absolutely go into Superman mode and take over games. But it's really hard when you're not the quarterback to be able to do that. But you do have a fantastic offensive line, and I'm going to be interested to see what San Francisco comes out uh, with their scheme because they're going to have to change what they're doing. But then when you come over here, I mean, you're seeing this right. There's literally nothing over here for San Francisco compared to a fantastic Seattle defense. And again, almost nothing over here. Fantastic Seattle defense. That's going to make the difference in the game. As that commercial goes, defensive win championships. And that's what we're seeing here. You've got a very beleaguered San Francisco offense with that injury, and they were kind of short without that injury. It just so happened that they had two fantastic players, playmakers, a solid offensive line, and that they were able to play a really robust game of football that was not really a big, deep game, but they were able to get first downs and continue to get those and really control the ball. Without one of those key players, it'll be interesting to see who steps up. We saw this last week, but at the end of the day, that is a big ask from a team that's coming off a week against a team that where they got beat up, going against a team that had a week off and has pretty much all of their players. So that's what I got. Love you like and subscribe. Drop me a note. Love to hear from you.